Hello, I'm Sheriff Jack Strain. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Badge. Every year, the St. Tammany Parish Animal Shelter has to euthanize dogs due to a lack of space and adoptions. A lot of the animals could make great pets and go to good homes with a little bit of training. You may be wondering why I'm telling you this. Well, it turns out that there's a program recently started in Louisiana that can help solve this problem. Animal shelters across the state have partnered with prisons and jails in an effort to reduce the number of animals euthanized yearly. A movement has begun to teach inmates who qualify for the program how to train dogs to better prepare them for adoption. While the main goal was to save the dogs, the program has proved to be beneficial to the inmates as well as the K9. Upon hearing about this unique collaboration between animal shelters and inmates, our own Deputy Chief Danelle Gerchow went to work gathering information and resources to put this partnership to work at the St. Tammany Parish Jail.
Mr. Bill Bars with Doggone Express. He was partnering with the Jefferson Parish Animal Shelter, and they were taking animals out of the shelter and bringing them to Rayburn or Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women and having the inmates actually train the animals, which makes them more adoptable. So throughout the conversation, I started thinking, well, we have a jail, and potentially that could be a program that we could implement in St. Tammany Parish. When this first started, when we first started talking about it, just throwing the idea around, for me, being an animal lover, it was strictly about the animals. It was, let's see how many animals we can get adopted. But after going and visiting the inmates at Rayburn and Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women, just hearing them talk, it gave me a total different perspective, and now the program's not strictly about the dogs, it's also about the inmates. It gives them a sense of responsibility, it gives them a sense of purpose. So many of them told us that this is what they get up in the morning and actually have a purpose, and they don't have that if they don't have the dog to take care of.
This program changed my whole life. It's done a lot for me. I've done every rehabilitation program they have in DOC, and this has been the most for me as far as about a person and helping me develop, you know, my attitude towards life and dealing with people. And it's done a lot for me because I'm giving something back to society.
When we went to Rayburn, the individual who was over inmate programs, his name is Warden Cook, and we actually went and met with him, and he took us for a tour around the facility. He brought us in the dorms where the dogs stayed. He gave us a little bit of background regarding the program. He was very positive about the program, and he oversees it at Rayburn.
Well, for the inmates, the whole prison system is designed either to reward or punish, and this provides them with something that they can do that makes them feel good about themselves, but also it's a deterrent against them breaking other rules because they don't want to lose this privilege of being able to have a dog. Our ultimate goal with some of them is actually to try to have national certification as dog trainers, and for at least one of the offenders right now that's in the program, they're trying to get a scholarship so that he can take the national exam.
I love what I do. I love the animals, I always have. Had a lot of dogs all my life. And I thought this was one of the greatest things they ever did. It's helped a lot of individuals in the dorm that aren't even involved in the dog program. Some of the social workers here have talked about how calm some of their patients that come up every so often have become. So I think it's been a win-win all the way around.
Well, the idea is that they're with the dogs 24 hours a day, and the dogs become used to them. They become used to following their commands, and they actually have to provide all the care for the dogs. They feed them, they bathe them, they train them, they take them to the bathroom on the yards. So they actually have full responsibility for the dogs.
When I walk in, right, if I had my dog with me, I walk in that right now, you got 150 convicts in there. When I walk through there, most of them want to pet the dog and talk to the dog, and you got these guys on some strong medication, psychotic medication and all that, but they're focusing on that dog, and they sit there and wait for me to bring that dog in, just to try to get a pet, just to try to talk to the dog. And it gets their mind off wherever they're at. It's stress related. It takes the stress off of them. It really does. It's been a big difference here in the prison.
We set up an appointment to meet with President Brister, and we sat down with her, and within 10 minutes she was on board. She gave her full support with it. The sheriff gave his full support, And we figured what better way to work together as an agency than to partner with something like this, where it helps not only the sheriff's office as far as the jail, but it also helps the parish government with animal control.
We're excited about it on several levels. The one you just talked about, obviously, and the men that train these dogs in the jails, then they are learning something they can take with them when they're released also, just as you said. So it's certainly helpful to them. It's helpful to us because our main purpose with our animal services is to adopt as many animals as possible. So it will give us a different dimension to be able to have for adoption animals that have been trained as a service dog or just trained for minimal commands. But that certainly will make that animal more attractive, I think, to people that come out and adopt these animals. And we are always looking for ways to make sure we get more of those adopted.
When I first approached the sheriff about it, I could not believe I was asking him to start a program involving dogs, but right after it came out of my mouth, I could not have asked for more support. He said he felt like it was a good program. He started throwing out ideas. He kind of gave me guidance on where to go, who to talk to, and I could not have asked for more support from him or President Brister.
Did you know that just petting a dog can lower your blood pressure? Just being with a dog can help in so many ways. This is going to give them a sense of responsibility and empathy, and there is a certification program that they can go through. And let's face it, I'm from here. I want to help these people as much as I can. It's not our job to punish them. It's our job to help them go through their sentence. And if we can help them get somewhere in their life where they feel good about themselves and want to make a difference, then the entire community wins.
And when I spoke with Captain Pellegrin about it, she was 100% behind the program, and she's been kind of overseeing the program to make sure that we get the right inmates in there, that we get the correct dogs in there, that we don't have any issues starting out with it. But she's taken the bull by the horns, I guess, so to speak, and has just ran with it and has been 100% behind the program, making sure that we have everything in place that we need, making sure that we have kennels, making sure that we have the building built for them, and that we have a secure area for the dogs where they can't get out when they're being trained.
The shed will be used as the training facility for the dogs. It's not completed yet. We still have a number of things to do. We have to do the plumbing, pour the slab. The profile of the building is too high, which doesn't keep the sun off, so we have to close in part of it in metal so that it'll be usable. It's designed because the dogs only train for a certain amount of time a day, and we want them to be able to get out of the weather should it start raining. And of course, it's South Louisiana, so it's hot. We want them to be able to go under shade and have a place to get the dogs out of the heat. There's also going to be the wash racks underneath there. There will be 2 wash stands for the dogs because the dogs have to be bathed regularly. That's part of their training, to make sure that they can be a good dog while they're getting bathed. And then we'll have a little grooming station so that they can be brushed out if they're a long hair breed, and blow dried if it's cold.
Like I've been having her for 2 weeks now, training for disability, like sit down, stay, recall, healing, walking on a leash, things like that, just to be obedient things.
Now, does your dog sleep with you in the dorm?
Sleeps right underneath my bed.
What do you think about that?
I love it. I love it. I love it. It means a lot to me. Because every dog, when you're with them, it's like a special bond. It's like, see, like with her, if I can go anywhere, she'll be waiting for me.
The dorm will basically stay exactly the same. The only difference will be that there will be 3 specially designed bunks, and the bunks are actually higher. And the reason, because the kennel for the animal will actually go directly under the bunk. So everything for the animal takes up the same footprint as the inmate that's training them. So initially, we will have to make allowances for the new dogs coming in, because they won't be, they could be puppies. They may have to go out several times a night. So we had to put them in an area closest to the deputies so that they could take their animal out to let them go to the bathroom.
I came from Angola, been up there 32 years, and it's a dead place, so it's just something new to do. But as you get into it and talk to Bill, the man who runs the program, you find the other side of what's going on about the dogs, about the people that we're supposed to be trying to help with the dogs. It kind of gets you where you have a fulfillment that you normally don't have in prison. You have a commitment you don't normally have in prison. Like myself, my family starts to disappear over the years, and it's given me something to hang on to, something emotional, because you have no real emotional outlet normally in prison. Normal people don't. So it gave me something to latch onto reality.
This stops me from doing a lot of stuff like I do. Not a lot. I'm not a disciplinary problem no more. I was at one time, but I know if I get in trouble, I'm gonna lose my dog. If I get in trouble, if I get in a fight or something, I'm gonna lose my dog. So it keeps me in check, with as far as about obeying the rules and everything and the policies of the institution.
To me, this is a win-win situation. It's something that can help the animal shelter, it can help the animals, and then it's also something that can help the inmates. Some of the inmates describe to us that they don't have family. Either their family has just turned their backs on them or their family lives too far away. And to not have family come and visit you, then you actually have a purpose and you have something that you see that you're training. You're starting with the dog the moment he gets there, and you're with the dog 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's your job now to make sure that that dog becomes more trainable, more adoptable, kennel trained, all of that.
Right now we're just making the dogs more adoptable so that they will not be put down. That is our main focus right now. And the program for that takes 6 to 8 weeks. There's some things that we're looking at maybe, and you can actually have your dog certified through the Kennel Association as to whether or not it's a friendly dog. So we may look at doing that, making sure that they all can be certified. But eventually we'd like to move into special needs animals of varying degrees. You have, of course, the Wounded Warrior program, and you have dogs that work with autistic children, and you have seeing eye dogs, but that's in the future. Right now we're just trying to keep dogs from being killed.
These canines will help people with autism, they got all kind of programs now where you take little kids and they sit down and read to the dog. You got colleges that check out dogs for final exams to get the stress off of them. You got the old folks' homes and stuff like that where you bring the dog to hospitals and all that. These dogs are really making a difference in the world. And again, the community, with all these dogs with not being spayed and neutered, is teaching the community things about what they should be responsible for. So having dogs run around the street, it would keep the shelters pretty much clean if everybody take responsibility for their animals. And if you can get that word out, then that would be great for them. They got a new process now that's called zootering. Instead of having surgery done, it's a one-day process, one shot, and that's all it takes to get spayed and neutered, which is great. You don't have to bring your dog in no more to have it and leave it overnight, and expenses and all that. But I think it's, like I said, it's beneficial, it's cost efficient, and it saves the community money, it saves animals' lives, and it brings companionship to people. I mean, I've had dogs here that I've trained for a lady that was deaf. She came all the way to Florida to come get that dog, and right now they're great. I mean, she loves that dog. I've had 5 or 6 of them that people wanted certain dogs. Most of the guys here, as you can see here, between the classification people and the warden, they put some pretty good people in this program, as dedicated and want to get things done. So I think it's real great, not only for us, but for other people too.
I've had dogs as house pets, and I'll tell you, that's one thing I've learned is everything that I've done wrong with the house pets that I've had. My success as a trainer is measured in the success of the people that are training me. I am one of the newer people here. Bonding comes real natural. They're mostly rescue dogs, so they're seeking affection. They're finding it here. Apart from the trainers, in any given dorm, they have 75 new best friends.
Hearing some of the individuals who were involved with training the dogs and how they become attached to the dogs, and they know that they're going to a better place, and they know that they've done something, they have some sense of purpose, and that they've accomplished something is good for them in one way, but then on the other hand, they don't want to let them go because for 6 to 8 weeks they were with them the whole entire time. So hearing them talk about that, it really shows how much the program means to them. And I actually asked one of them what would happen if this program was taken away. What if they no longer had this program at your facility? And they were like, what do you mean, take it away? And it was just remarkable to see what the dogs did for the inmates as much as what the inmates were doing for the dogs.
Because I'm gonna tell you, the very first dog we had, I actually shed tears when he left. And then I learned through that particular experience with the next dogs that it's something that's gonna come and go. And as you get older in life, you learn about things that come and go, because you experience death with people, your friends, your family. So in a way, losing that dog was similar experiences to dealing with death, because you're losing a friend. And you bond with these dogs. You spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with these dogs. And they sleep under my bed, and they become your friend, your companion. They become somebody you can actually talk to. And it was rough, and it still is rough. But I've more or less learned how to compartmentalize the differences in the dogs and knowing they have to leave.
And how do you think it affects the dogs when they leave?
I would say that a few of the dogs that I had definitely had separation anxiety. I know that they're going to be depressed and a little down for a little while, but I think that knowing they're going to good, loving homes on my part, and the dog leaving and going to a home that somebody loves them and it's a new experience for them, I think they get over that separation anxiety quite well.
It's hard giving them up. You know, I had a Argentina Dogo about 3 months ago. I had him for a while. I had him for like 5 months. He was deaf, and I taught him in American Sign Language and basic obedience. And I broke down when that dog left. Separation anxiety is bad sometimes, but it's just something we got to deal with, you know.
I know right now the parish does a great job in trying to get the animals adopted, but if we and our inmates can help, that would be even better. Even better.
My ultimate goal would be to have a dorm full of canines, but one of the goals too is to eventually be able to train service dogs. And some of the dogs that we bring through the program may eventually become service dogs depending on how they are in the program. If some of them are responding to training better and the trainer feels that, you know, they can come in and that they may be able to be a service dog for a child with autism or a veteran or something like that, then they'll go into a much deeper training. But my goal is to eventually have some of our dogs be able to participate in that.
Just the fact that every 22 minutes in the United States a former veteran commits suicide, and it has been documented that giving them an animal to care for drastically reduces that. PTSD, yeah, every 22 minutes a veteran in the United States commits suicide.
The first thing is to get them out of the shelter, get them trained for the 6 to 8 weeks to make them more adoptable. If we see where they can move on to a service dog, then that's our ultimate goal, because not only do we have pets that we want to give people, but we actually have a pet that we have trained that can actually be given to a service member or a child with autism. And it just, we're not only helping dogs, we're not only helping inmates, we're not only helping the community, but we're helping those that have fought for our freedom, or those children with autism that struggle with that on a daily basis. We're also helping them.
This is obviously a benefit to everyone involved. While we're still in the beginning phases of this project, we're expecting great things to come from it. Once the program is up and running, we will be bringing you part 2 of this story on Behind the Badge. Well, that's our show. I hope you'll tune in next time. Until then, as always, stay safe.
Sheriff's Office is committed to upholding the public's trust and protecting life and property within our community. We will utilize sound judgment, reason, and creativity to solve the problems we face, using proactive planning and responsive problem solving. We recognize the badge of our office as a symbol of public faith, and we accept it as a public trust.